Hi, this is Mary Jane from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, and welcome back to our creative video series. Today I'm going to be making, it's a little hard to see on this picture, but it's a stuffed toy for kids, a fabric stuffed toy, and it is Noah's Ark. So
that's cute.
It's a rather large panel. It makes the Ark.
Well, the Ark was big.
And the Ark carries all of the people. And you can see I got, they go by two. And then these people. So it's a really cute little plush toy, and the Ark holds all the people.
That's nice.
So the instructions call for a few supplies. First, you're going to need some polyfill to stuff all the animals. You're going to need a tiny bit of some stabilizer. I'm sorry, interfacing. I used the, what is this? 931. It's fusible. It's got a little more oomph to it.
Yeah, it says mid-weight, yeah.
But to be honest, you could use any scrap of fusible interfacing. And then you also need, I'm going to show you on this piece because that is very heavy. I'm sure you could use the soft and stable. I use the Bonsall. This is fusible.
So it's fairly, yes.
Yeah, it's got a little
oomph.
Yeah, make the Ark survive.
Got it.
So those are what you need. I recommend some nice clips, and I also recommend a nice sharp pair of scissors. So for those supplies, the first thing I'm going to show you is you will be cutting all of your pieces out. I tend to cut on the other side of the dotted line. I like to leave myself some room. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they get a little close, like you can see right here. Try to give yourself as much room outside the dotted line. It'll be helpful later. Once you have your pieces cut out, you put them together right sides. A couple pins or clips, like I just had. You don't need too many. And you're sewing a 1/4 inch all around the outside.
Do you leave an opening?
I do. Voila, here is one that is sewn. It's a little frayed, but you can see I have left an opening in the bottom. I'd say that's maybe about 1.5 inches.
Got it.
And one of the things I like to do is when I start on something like this, I come in about 3 stitches. You may need a leader, a little bit of a fabric swatch right there, just so your feed dogs will catch it. You come in about 3-4 stitches, sink your needle, turn, do all around. When you get to this point, sink your needle, turn, and come about 3-4 stitches. And what that gives you is when you flip it inside out, here we go. I tend to use like the end of my seam ripper or a blunt object that I have handy to press to get all my seams out. You'll notice because I started that in a few stitches,
it tucks it in nice.
It easily tucks it in. I'm going to show you on the elephant how I stuff it. And it is, especially for this project because you have so many animals, this is definitely where I...
TV watching.
Yep. For me right now it's the fillies, but you make all the animals and the people, and then you stuff it. So I'm gonna stuff that, get my animal. I wasn't getting them crazy full. I'd say medium stuffing. I'm sure there's an easier trick somewhere to get stuffing in a little hole like that, but for now we'll just carry on as we are. And there's one more thing I want to show you. Okay, so let's say I have him completely stuffed.
You'd be fine unless somebody's physically watching you and filming.
So I have him pretty stuffed. If I had all the time in the world, I might stuff him a little bit more.
Okay.
But what I want to show you is when I actually have the stuffing in and it's complete, I will finger press so I have that nice and folded in.
Mm-hmm.
I may even take it over to my iron. You don't have to follow me, Pam.
Yeah, I don't want to get people sick.
Yeah.
Motion sickness.
And just give it a little tiny press. The directions recommend that you, at this point, hand sew it. I know. No. That's not how I roll. So you'll notice on every little piece, there is a stitch line at the bottom.
Got it.
And what I do is I simply, with my fingers, push the stuffing into the animal. I caress it under my presser foot. Oh, I need my clip back. Keep everybody together. And then I back up a little bit.
And I'm sure if you wanted to get a little closer, you'd use like a 1/4-inch foot or zipper foot.
That's a great idea, Pam. I would have done that, but I would not have thought of that. Thanks, Pam.
There you go.
And then you'll see that I have closed up the bottom with that little stitch. Those are the animals. Now we are ready to build the ark. In the directions, they actually build the ark first. I actually did the animals first because I thought they were kind of easy and I wanted to get them out of the way, so I did that. So now I go back to my panel and I'm looking at the ark pieces. So you have the outside of the ark, the inside of the ark.
Mm-hmm.
5 and 6 are the windows of the ark, I believe.
Got it.
And 7 and 8 are these brick-colored pieces, and they make handles.
Oh, nice.
Again, I cut this out, leaving a little space. First, I like to trim back once it's all cut out. To make the outside of the ark, that is where you're going to need a piece of soft and stable, like or just a bonsal, a heavier, sturdier foam that is going to give the project a little stability.
We can't have a collapsible ark. That would be weird.
Cannot. I cut it roughly the size of this piece. You can see I have trimmed down 3 of the corners. The 4th one I have not because I wanted to show you. I am going to line this up and then I'm going to iron it on. I'm just using a little pressing cloth here so that I don't get the fusible stuff on my iron. I'm going to do this more than once because sometimes it takes a minute for the glue to melt and activate with my piece of fabric. And I can kind of tell when it's ready because it's going to stick a little to my fabric. And that's okay. Bring it over here. I'm going to trim it up to take out the pieces. are hanging out. I want it to be in the arc shape. If your fusible does not grasp all the little corners and the edges, I'm not too worried about it. You're really just using that to sort of hold it together as you sew. But all of the edges are going to be in a seam, so you're going to sew it together too. One of the things that my friends with little kids always enjoy about these kind of projects are that they are fabric, so they are washable. And anybody who has ever taken toys with them or has a kid that likes to play with toys while they're eating or outside, they
true.
always appreciate the washability of a project. So both sides of the outside of the arc should look like this. You are also going to have the inside of the arc. I have cut these out. You do not need to stabilize them. I will trim that corner up. I just wanted to show you what they look like. That is the outside of the arc. So you can
inside?
Inside of the arc. So you can trim them, put them aside. Now we're going to do the windows of the arc. Following the instructions, it says on piece, I've already done piece 5 so that I can show you what it's going to look like finished. But what they would like you to do is, they say a 1/2 inch on the top side. And how do they denote the top side?
It says it.
Yep, it says it. Very good.
That's kind of them, actually.
Yes, it is kind of them. Not everybody would do that. So I'm going to trim my piece up so that I have the straight edge there. And then I am going to iron it a 1/2 inch. And I eyeball it.
Are you saying there's no inspectors that come around and check?
There are no
your
arc inspectors. Okay. They go through this convoluted thing, and basically what they're telling you to do is
Fold under all the edges.
fold under all of the edges. So you will see that I did that there, and I am going to do the same here. Yes, sometimes when you're folding the edges under and you're trying to make a corner, you might get a little bulk. In a project like this with the fabric that's kind of thin, bulk was not my biggest issue. So the first one goes over a 1/2 inch, and then the other ones go about a 1/4 of an inch. So I did follow their direction to make the mitered corner.
Oh, wow.
I know, but it was really not necessary. So on this one, I am simply going to press it under, and then I'll sew it all around. For the remaining 2 pieces, these make the handle. This is where I was saying that you could use a piece of fusible interfacing. I used a mid-weight. I'm not sure it's going to matter the weight that you use. It's the handle of the arc, so you just want something that's that has a little stability. I am going to come over here again, press it to activate that fusible interfacing. I am going to cut off my excess. They are asking you to fold this way and iron it.
Okay. So the long sides?
The long sides. once you get these folded under, ironed under, I should say, 1/4 of an inch, then they want you to fold it and tuck.
Oh, so you don't have to turn your handle right side out.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It does.
Make it a little easier.
And then they're going to have you sew that. This side and this side. So I'm going to do a little sewing, get us to our next step, and I'll be right back. So you can see I have sewn the handle on both
sides.
pieces. So you fold it so that it will stand up properly. So I folded it like that. And then there's arrows on the fabric.
Oh.
You line the arrows up.
It's like they planned it.
It says to baste it. I don't baste, but I just sew it at about 1/8 of an inch, just to keep it in that seam when I get to the point where I sew it all together. I am using a dual feed on this machine. Now when you're sewing at this point, you may want to consider a walking foot if you're having trouble getting it through, because there is some bulk. So now I have these two pieces with the handles on. And then I just want to know where we sew the windows on.
I would do it now.
That's what I would think. So this is,
Unless for some reason.
example 8. Yep. But it has it on there already.
Yeah, so I put them on now while they're flat.
Right, I just don't see where it says where to put them on. Oh, instructions. Based handles. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to line the windows up. So this is where my eye is going. I have 4 pieces right there. I am going to match the line on the fabric.
Nice. That makes sense.
So are you reading that right? So these are pieces 2 and 6. And that's how we're going to do it.
Yep.
This is a little tricky for a pin placement. So I am going to hold it with my hands, again, lining up those white lines. And I am going to put the heavier, the 1/2 inch corner down. What do you think? Yeah. Again, I'm centering it over these 4 windows.
Well, actually, that was the top of the window.
Oh, you're right. That was the top.
So
So that's where they...
I would do that at the top because that's what it kind of had it labeled.
Okay.
Yep, go for it.
All right. So that's what we're going to do.
So the 1/2 inch is at the top.
Yep. And I am just using the lines on the fabric for my eye. Doing a little back stitch there. Flipper-do.
That is cute.
It is very cute. I'm not quite sure why the directions aren't clear, but cross that bridge when we get to it. Now we know how to do it. So I'm going to do it on this side too. Same deal.
Just so you can, there you go. And if for some reason we find out that we needed to have it stitched all the way around, or that's what fabric glue is for.
But I think it's flappy so the kids can,
Yeah, play.
so.
Go for it.
Okay, now we have to put the arc together. How we're doing that is we're gonna match up the sides. Now if your foam is not directly up to the edge, it's all good. No worries. Definitely gonna use my pins here.
Your clips.
My clips, thank you, no pins. Gonna do it on this side too, making sure I have fabric and foam together.
This part kind of, if you ignore the top, it looks like a bag.
Exactly how
Like a tote
they
bag.
are, that's exactly the technique that they're
Yeah.
using, because then we're gonna make a boxed corner, is that called?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is calling for a 1/4 inch. I might do a real 1/4 inch, not a scant 1/4 inch, because you got a lot going on here and
Yep.
you want to get everybody in. You are sewing where the clips are. You're not sewing here, you're not sewing up here, just where the clips are. I am going to start sewing by doing a couple tacking stitches.
And also, if you're having a little bit of trouble pushing it through, this would be a good time to increase your length of stitch to maybe
Oh, you're right, Pam.
2.5 to 3.
Yeah, I am sewing. I'm sewing at 2.5.
Yeah, so.
But you're right. You could go to 3 on this guy.
Yep.
This is where I'm going to take a minute and make sure everything got grabbed. Okay.
Looks
So
good.
it looks good. Without turning it inside out, you are going to keep it wrong facing, and you are going to make what they call a box corner. Now how I did that was I was flat, and then I'd have to stick your hand in here,
And just match the seams.
and then I was boxed.
Yep.
Not the easiest thing to get under the foot. But if you notice, I'm kind of taking my hand and trying to make it as flat here
As
as
flat.
possible.
And that's the advantage of doing foam, because foam does have some flexibility.
That is true. Again, I'm going to give myself a little back and forth action. I'm still doing about a 1/4 of an inch, but it is not a scant 1/4 of an inch. It is a full 1/4 of an inch. So there we go. If I had a little too much bulk, I could trim that down
Got
a
it.
bit.
Yep. Do the same thing on the other side.
Yeah.
This is going to be so cute.
Yes.
And it's a nice, quiet toy.
It is very quiet. This would be the kind of toy where my kid would pick a favorite animal, and then that would be it. Like, whenever we were playing with this toy, that, you know, they'd have to have the giraffe or something.
Sure.
Or the giraffe would be going with us everywhere.
Where?
Okay, so I have 2 now boxed corners. I'm going to knot inside out so right sides are showing. Okay, so
Yep.
yes, I am going to bring it out this time.
That way you can admire all your beautiful work.
That is correct. I make boats. People think I
Hey.
just quilt. Come on.
You do 3D stuff.
I make boats.
Yeah. That's so cute.
Isn't that cute? Like a little Noah's Ark purse.
There you go. you somebody out there would be like, yep, that's what I want.
Okay. Here are my inside pieces. I'm going to trim this up. Forgot to do that. The trick to this piece of the puzzle is you have to leave part of it open. And they have given you
Oh, marks.
marks
There
to
you
tell
go.
you what to
So the
leave
two,
open. However, if you look at the picture,
it's the
only
opposite.
one side is open. They put the marks on both sides,
Yep.
but only one side is open. How I remember to do that is, I have no pins, but I would put pins there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clip there,
Yep.
and I'm going to put a clip here. And following the
Basically,
direction.
same thing that you did on
same
the.
deal. You're going to do 2 sides and the bottom. Sometimes you kind of have to finesse the fabric to sit nicely. Again, when I'm doing an opening like this, I am going to lower my presser foot, do a couple stitches, raise my presser foot because I'm not on the hovering feature, which I enjoy. Then I'm going to come over here and come down and come out. Get it on the other side. So you can see I have the little entryways there. It's hard to tell because I'm using a very neutral color thread.
Yep.
And then I'm sewing the bottom, just like I did on the other one.
It's actually good to do that opening side first because I can't tell you how many times I have sewn and kept sewing and I'm like,
Yes.
aw, man.
I know.
Seam ripper time.
Yeah, I wonder why I do it that way. Ask me how I know. Yeah, normally when I'm doing it, I make an X with the pins, so
Oh, there
I
you go.
remember.
Yep.
So now I have 3 of the sides put together. Oh, and I'm going to do my box corners again.
Yep. That way we can't have anything leaking out. That
I
would be
know.
sad.
side. Another boxed corner.
Then you're just going to put them together
Now
and
I'm
line
going
up the top.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep this with the wrong side out. I'm going to put this right side in. So I am going to take a minute to actually make all this work because I have some things to line up here. I have my box corners. I want to make sure they're in the right place. I want to make sure that my windows don't get caught in any of the seams.
That would be sad.
Yes.
And you're going to line up your sides and your top.
Yep. And then I am going to clip all over the place because...
And make sure your handles are in.
Yeah, you want your handles in.
That's going to be so cute.
Yeah, it actually fits together very nicely. Okay, let me do some clipping and we will be right back. So I have clipped the outside to the inside. So my inside is, I have right sides together. Do not forget to tuck the handle in. The handle wants to stick out, you need to have it in. It should look just like this. On Pam's recommendation, we have taken the cabinet insert out and brought it up, and now you can see that I am going to sew with my free arm. It is going to be much easier for me to sew while this is tucked in like that. Now I am going to sew all the way around, making sure I get everybody. Again, it says 1/4 inch. I am going to make sure that it is a real 1/4 inch. Because you are not top stitching this. On a bag, normally you would top stitch it, so you'd know if you needed to grab that seam a little closer, you would have the opportunity to top stitch. And I am not sewing quickly, I am taking my time here. I am actually even going to come off of this because when I get to this point, it's going to be easier for me to come off and come down again.
Yeah, but I think using the free arm makes life a little easier.
Oh, I think that was a great idea. Can I hover with the foot control? Is that what I'm missing here? I know it's the setting, but...
Alright. So, hi guys. I don't sew. Midway?
Sure. Anyway would be good.
There you go.
Okay.
Is that better for you?
Oh, that's so much better, Pam. Now, you don't enjoy that setting on.
I use it on and off.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. Depends on my job. If I'm doing a lot of straight seams, I don't tend to have it on.
Okay.
But if I'm doing a lot of turning of corners like you're doing right now, where you're stopping, having that hover is wonderful.
Okay, the pivot on this corner is tough, so I am going to cut my thread when I have to make this corner turn. And you can see how I'm using the fray arm to hold it under the needle. Gotta back up a little bit there. There we go, that's much better.
That is going to be adorable.
Okay. So now remember, we have the hole, and it's a fairly large hole. And what you're going to do is you need to bring the bag outside of the hole.
Pack your patience.
Pack your patience for sure. It's going to take a minute. You have light fabric pulling through this heavy seam of a fabric. What I will probably try to do is first take the bottom out.
Yep.
So this is like the light blue section. I'm also going to use my hand inside the arc to really work to push it out. Okay, so I have all the blue section out. Now that I have the blue section out, I'm going to, instead of moving the boat through, I'm going to try to move the lining fabric. Almost as if you're doing a turn on a strip of fabric to make
There you
a
go.
tie or something.
It's getting there.
Yeah. My favorite thing to use in this case is a chopstick.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. And the handles work nicely to
To
pull
pull
the
it
top
up.
part through.
That is adorable.
Now, make sure you're getting all of these corners, and if there's a part that you're unhappy with or you feel like you need a little more, don't forget this piece is still open. You can put your hand through to get all of these corners. Oh, the chop.
No,
Oh,
sorry, it's a knitting needle.
No, that's fine.
Sorry, I couldn't come up with a chopstick. I'm surprised we had a knitting needle in here, but there you go.
Are you surprised?
Well, yeah, in the store, because I have millions of them at home.
Okay, I am using this to bring up the points by the handles.
Then the opening that they have you do on the side, they do say hand or machine stitch.
Right, and I am of course going to do the machine stitch.
Yeah, and just give it a press. And
Yeah, I'm going
there
to
you
give it
go.
a press, and just going to come down here, press the whole thing. Give me a second. I'm going to put this on the end of my ironing board.
That is really cute.
It's fabric, so you can press all over the place. If you have a ham, you can get the corners in.
There you go.
And then all of your people
That is adorable.
go in and you can go out for lunch. Take them with you. Everybody in.
That's so great.
Thank you very much. Upon further review of the pattern, Pam and I decided that this was meant to be a pocket where you could put the people in. So at the step where you complete putting the front part onto the fusible foam, that is when you would insert this pocket. So this is the completed project. The little pocket has everybody, and inside holds all the animals.